This is a 13 Weather Impact Alert.
Hello, West Michigan. I'm meteorologist Kolton Woods. Thanks for joining us here on 13 Plus. We're bringing you to the radar right now and also what's going on across West Michigan because we have been issued a severe thunderstorm watch between now and 10 p.m. from the Storm Prediction Center, but this likely, at least here in West Michigan, the storms will be ending much sooner than 10 p.m. Most of the storm activity will actually be leaving us right around 7 p.m. or so, but you can see much of the lower peninsula of Michigan is included in this watch, including everybody in West Michigan as well. And like I said, this is between now until 10 p.m., but I do imagine that we'll likely see these storms end much sooner than that, closer towards 7. Taking a live look at satellite and radar though, you can see storms really erupted further inland just to the east of US 131 over the past hour to two, as we do have some daytime heating fueling these storms as instability grows during into the afternoon hours. But then a secondary cold front and an upper level trough is moving into West Michigan, bringing some energy aloft, creating some storms right now over Lake Michigan. Those currently impacting the lakeshore, so Ludington seeing some rain showers right now, a little bit of thunder and lightning as well, but no severe weather right now, thankfully, for those off to the north in Mason County. Oceana County also seeing some rain showers right now, but like I said, no severe weather for them either. Muskegon, there's a heavier storm currently approaching the Muskegon area right now, possibly bringing some pea-sized hail. We have been seeing some pea-sized hail reports across some of West Michigan with the first round of storms that ignited along US 131. So Ionia County, you've had a few storm reports of small hail, also into portions of Kent County as well. Zooming in on the storm though, that is currently approaching the Muskegon area. If I put a pause on the radar, you can see there is a heavier cell currently approaching southern Muskegon County, but this is fairly weak. It's not too strong. Possibly, like I said, some small hail with this as it continues to move off to the east at about 35 miles per hour. If I switch to just normal radar, taking the clouds out of the picture, you can see the stronger storm just moving onshore of Muskegon County. There's also a special marine statement in southern Muskegon County in Lake Michigan toward Grand Haven as well. So if you know anyone with a boat, make sure they seek shelter as the storm continues to move into southern portions of Muskegon County and also into Grand Haven. I'll put a track on this storm because this really is one of the bigger storms we're monitoring, but like I said, it's really not that strong in of itself, pretty weak. But if I put a cone on this and track it into southern Muskegon County, it's moving about 35 miles per hour to the east-northeast, so that puts it into Muskegon right around 4:09 p.m., Wolf Lake right around 4:20, Ravenna 4:32, Bridgeton around 4:40, a little bit further to the east in Fremont, closer to 4:47, Newaygo 4:53, and Croton around 5:05, Pearson around 5:15. So this storm continuing to move off to the east-northeast at about 35 miles per hour. And like I said, the main threat with this one, probably bringing small hail, but no severe hail, it looks like at least at this current time. Switching gears, looking at other storms in West Michigan. Zooming down, you can see there's another storm cell in Ionia County. So we have a few more storms to contend with off to the east. Ionia County actually saw a few small hail reports as well. No major hail by any means, just around 1/4 of an inch to 1/2 inch size hail, which is technically not severe. These are mostly sub-severe storms at this current hour, so that's some good news at least. But looking toward Lansing, there's some more storms moving toward the Lansing region. This is also bringing a heavy rainfall threat as well, and which is a somewhat of a concern because we are approaching the evening commute time. A lot of people out on the roads, and when it rains super heavily, obviously that impacts visibility and also can create some ponding on the roadways as well. So that's another threat that we're monitoring over the next couple of hours or so. Like I said, most of this rainfall and storm threat will be done by 7 p.m. here in West Michigan, even though that watch technically goes until 10. There's another storm that we're currently looking at in the Kalamazoo area toward Battle Creek as well. Mostly right now, just a heavy rain threat. Gull Lake getting some heavy rain and some lightning and thunder as well. Just south of Portage, also seeing some rainfall, and also toward Kalamazoo, seeing a weak storm right now. These storms aren't severe at this current time, but they are still bringing heavy rainfall threat, and very small hail has been reported, but most of that hail being thankfully sub-severe, so that's some good news at least. Zooming back up to the Muskegon storm, you can see that's continuing to move on shore. It will likely be moving into PJ Hoffmaster State Park, so those areas over there. Fruitport, Norton Shores, that will likely impact you over the next 10 to 15 minutes or so, I would say, as it moves off to the east-northeast at 35 miles per hour. If I'm going to switch over to hail, so this is a product called VIL, and this basically shows hail potential, and the darker the shades, such as the green that you're seeing, that means we have higher potential for hail with the storm. So there's that storm that I was talking about just offshore of Muskegon Heights, Norton Shores. You can see that green area does highlight at least the higher potential for some smaller hail. But like I said, we're not expecting severe hail, at least as of now, with any of these current storms, but that could change over the next couple of hours as these storms continue to move on through. Zooming down to the Kalamazoo storm, you can see some higher signatures for possibly some small hail. But like I said, no severe hail, at least at this present time. Galesburg, just south of you along I-94, there's some darker shades of green indicating that you too might see some pea-sized hail currently. And also just to the southwest of Kalamazoo towards Ashtamo and also Matawan, you're seeing some darker greens indicating the potential at least for some smaller pea-sized hail. And also, if we zoom in on Ionia County, so around the Clarksville area, there's another dark shade of green, indicating that you also might be seeing some pea-sized hail. I'm actually going to switch over to storm reports that we've gotten so far. A few storm reports have been coming in from Kent County, Ionia County, and also Allegan County because of the small hail that we have been seeing with the first round of storms igniting across the region. But you can see Belding, there was a storm report of 0.25 inches of hail. So that's pretty small hail, around a pea-sized hail. So technically that is not severe. A severe hailstorm is at least an inch in diameter. So most of these storms right now have been just bringing pea-sized hail, sub-severe hail. So that's some encouraging news. But obviously we will be paying close attention to any more storms that decide to fire up across West Michigan. But switching back over to the radar without cloud cover, you can see a lot of storms still in southern portions of our area, so Kalamazoo County, extending toward Calhoun County as well, Eaton, Berry counties, and also Ionia County. Just for the most part, seeing some heavy rain, so no concern yet for severe weather, but like I said, we are still in that severe threat between basically now and 7 p.m., and another storm approaching the Muskegon area within the next 10 to 15 minutes. So if you live in southern Muskegon County especially, so Fruitport, Cloverville, Norton Shores, regions around Muskegon and Muskegon Heights, you'll likely be dealing with some heavier downpours and a few lightning strikes as well, but no severe weather currently across much of West Michigan. But I'm going to time out these storms and take a look at the Storm Prediction Center outlook as well, so we can talk about the risk going into basically 7 p.m. this evening. The Storm Prediction Center did originally have us in a marginal risk of severe weather, but they upgraded that right around 1 p.m. or so to a slight risk of severe storms, and they also put us in that severe thunderstorm watch between now and 10 p.m. But you can see the biggest threat, at least right now, does appear to be some smaller hail and some stronger wind gusts, maybe upwards of 70 miles per hour, but I think that's definitely on the extreme end of things, probably closer to 50 to 60 miles per hour would be a more common theme across West Michigan with these storms as they move through. Small hail, though, is expected. And then we're not really looking at a tornado threat, thankfully, or any flooding. We will see heavy rain and possibly some low visibility at times through the evening commute, but we're not expecting any severe flooding on roadways, thankfully, but a little bit of ponding definitely could be possible. Now, switching gears to the future radar, this is what it could look like at 5 p.m. That line of storms that is currently about to impact Muskegon County continues to move to the east, and we'll see more storm development likely just south of Grand Rapids. So Grand Rapids probably getting some storms between 5 and 6 p.m., but look how fast these storms move off to the east. You can see by 6 p.m. already approaching Alma, Ionia, Lansing. So along the lakeshore, you'll probably be dry and even seeing some sunshine along the lakeshore by 6 p.m. or so. And then once we get to 7, most of the storm activity is well to the east of us, so we'll likely be avoiding any more additional severe to strong storms once we get to 7 p.m. Even though this watch does go to 10 p.m., like I said, most of the weather thankfully will be done by 7. So that's some good news. Really not a huge severe weather deal is expected over the coming hours, but a few isolated communities could see some smaller hail, maybe some strong wind gusts up to about 60, maybe 70 miles per hour, and also seeing some torrential rain as these storms continue to move through. But what I think I'm going to do now is just send it on a radar loop, and we will be back if needed, if any additional storms fire up and if they pose a severe weather risk. But for now, we're just going to loop it on radar.